I'm a board member of the Haitian Women's Alliance. And every so often, we like to bring you these presentations to share with the Haitian community and also share our vision and our mission and highlight important causes and important information. And always, we want to keep in touch with you. And we have a special guest today. We are speaking with Aurélie Zéphir, and I want to introduce her properly, so I'm going to read her bio. But before we do that, I am going to tell you a little bit more about the Haitian Women's Alliance, so you know exactly who we are and what we do. So the Haitian Women's Alliance, we are a professional organization dedicated to promoting leadership and educational development for Haitian women. And we formed exclusively for charitable and educational purposes, and specifically to provide academic scholarship to students. We are so passionate about that. And hosting lectures and seminars and other educational events influenced by Haitian women. We promote education, leadership, opportunities for Haitian women. And you'll notice we say Haitian women a lot because that's what we're all about. And we develop and inspire women to be future leaders in business, in government, and community. So we lead, we help women with their career and lifestyle and give them advice. We empower, we help women achieve their professional goals with events and platforms, and we nurture growth, and we thrive. We want to help women find innovative ways to support one another as they climb the ladders of opportunity. And we have been at it for several years now. And in fact, 3 years ago, we had a talk on trauma. And that is the talk that we are about to engage with today. And it's a really important topic in the Haitian community because, as you may know, it's something that we don't often talk about. So I want everyone within the sound of my voice to tell someone, tell another Haitian person, another Haitian woman to join this broadcast, to learn, to join this discussion, and to really just spread the word that therapy is not just for the world, it's for Haitian women too. And we all want to participate with that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest and tell you all about her. So Aurélie Zéphir, she is the founder of Transformative Healing Pathways, and she is a licensed marriage and family therapist with a master's degree in counseling, psychology, and an emphasis on marriage and family therapy. With over 6 years of experience, she has worked with a diverse range of individuals, including children, adolescents, and adults. Early in her career, Aurélie served as a school therapist, working with children ages 5 to 18. Now she focuses primarily on adults, specializing in trauma, anxiety, and depression. Aurélie is deeply passionate about helping individuals process and heal from trauma, especially within the Haitian community. She believes that trauma, if not addressed and processed, can have long-lasting effects on both emotional and physical health. Her mission is to help the Haitian community heal and move forward by breaking the stigma surrounding mental health and creating safe spaces for individuals to seek support. And as the founder of Transformative Healing Pathways, a private practice that focuses on mental health and therapy, she also is now releasing a podcast, which we'll get more into. But she's also offering workshops like Healing Together, Demystifying Mental Health, Santé Mentale, as they say in the Haitian community. So Aurélie, after all that talking, I'm going to pass it over to you. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me and giving me this platform to, just like you read, my mission is to really educate, first of all, because I believe when you don't know much about a subject, anything, right, really, it's really normal to feel scared. So my mission is to bring the education and to help our community understand that we also um, are allowed to heal. It also belongs to us. Yeah, and thank you again for this opportunity.
Absolutely. And we feel this information is so important that this is now our second discussion about it. Previously, 3 years ago, we had a panel discussion on addressing trauma within the Haitian community. And I want to ask you, why is it that we tend to be so out of touch with mental health as a
Mhm.
community? Why is there a stigma around it with us culturally?
Yeah, I think it's the idea that when we touch on the brain or when we talk about sentimental, it's one word that comes, fool or crazy, right? Muna fool or crazy.
Mm,
And I think because of that, a lot of people uh, they don't want to be seen as crazy, right? They don't want to be labeled, so they stay away from it even if they are suffering, right? They don't want to talk about it, they don't want to say anything just because it's the label makes it very scary, right? Do I want to walk around with this? And I think even growing up in Haiti, it wasn't a thing for me either. Like I knew of psychologists, but I knew they were there for specific reasons. Like, kids with disability, obvious disabilities and things like that. And until I came here, it kind of shifted. And I was like, wait a minute, like you don't have to really have a diagnosis per se, like a severe one, to be needing help. And I think that message, that's why I want to be out there and put that message out there to take away the fear.
the fear, that's right, of getting help. Because as you
Hmm.
say, sometimes when you seek these services, you're put in a box, and it's
Yes.
stigma. And I'm sure that's part of the reason why you decided to release this podcast that is
Hmm.
actually launching very soon, tomorrow, in fact. Tell us everything about that. What is it called? What's it all about? Where can we find it?
Yes. So the podcast is called Wapkute Mapkute, which means you're listening to me, I'm listening to you. And you can actually find it on all major platforms: Substack, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Podcasts. And really is to create this safe space, like I said, for our community, because also I believe that, you know, eh, um, I believe that representation matters. Another thing too, that's why people don't go to therapy. They don't feel like the other person might will understand them because they're not from the same culture, especially from us coming from a different culture. So I believe like me showing as being part of Haitian culture, I've been Haitian, and it will be better received, right? And also because I know everything we've been through, so I can relate to everyone, or I can also send that message in ways that I know our community will understand and receive it. So that's what the podcast is about. And the other side of it is, like I said, creating a community, but not just me talking, but it's more about, I would you would hear me say that a lot, to reach out, comment, and let me know what they're thinking, because I also want to understand more of the needs, so then we can have conversation around it.
Definitely. And like you said, it's so relatable because I did get a chance to listen to sort of the trailer,
Really.
like that little episode in advance of the launch tomorrow. And it's so powerful to hear your voice talking about this subject because, yes, there's a lot of podcasts about mental health or psychological issues. But for me, anyway, it's the first time that I've heard it in a accent that is so uniquely Haitian. I mean, you have a beautiful voice, you're so eloquent, but to hear that sound that is so Haitian that I recognize immediately, talking
Hmm.
about these topics that aren't normally talked about in our community, just to me, that was powerful, just hearing your voice. So I commend you on that.
Thank
I hope that
you.
it's going to be a raving success. And I'm sure one of the topics you're going to talk about on that podcast is trauma. And
Mhm.
part of our mission today is to break that down. What is trauma exactly?
Yeah. So trauma is actually a response, right? From an overwhelming event, right? Your body responding to an event that was either stressful or created a lot of overwhelming emotion for you, and then your body react to that. So that's overall, that's what trauma is. And also another way I like to describe it is like trauma is very subjective too. Like there are some like obvious traumatic event like a car accident or being in abuse that are very obvious, but also sometimes it's like I might go to a situation and you go to the same one. It's not traumatic for you, but it is for me, right? So it's like my body responds to it differently than your body would. And yeah, so it's very complicated drama. It's very complex, I should say. Yeah.
Yes, and I think as a community, we're probably very complex in our relationship to trauma because I think we have traumas that we don't even recognize as trauma. I mean, just the act of moving to another country and
Mm,
uprooting your family and leaving some family behind and being in a new culture where you don't necessarily know the language and you've got to start from zero, that in and of itself can be a trauma. Never mind the conditions that some of us are escaping in Haiti. So I feel like it's
yes,
multi-layered in the Haitian community.
it is. It is. Um, the it's funny you should say that because that's actually the topic for tomorrow. But I'll give uh, uh, uh,
Spoiler alert.
just really quickly. Actually, it's not even the topic is not even trauma. It's really about healing. And the question that I answer in that episode is really, does everybody need healing? Right? And some people might feel they don't, but I won't give the answer. But you're right, right? And there's so many things that we go through. Just the fact that we are living in a different country to begin with, right? That means we have to uproot somewhere and try to come here and, start over, right? And no matter how old really we were when it started, it's still affected at some level. Yeah. And also there's also being away from your community too, because I know that yes, a lot of Haitians are in New York and Florida and other state, but just the fact that um in Haiti, it's just us, right? It's just like you don't feel like a stranger or you don't feel like you've been treated by other people. It's just you and your community and your country, right? All of that too is missing. We go on our daily life missing that piece, right? Yeah.
For sure. And I also feel like in the Haitian community, there's kind of this absence of sentimentality sometimes, especially within our own families. And that,
Hmm.
we sometimes when parents are disciplining children, it's like it tends to be very hard and very extreme. And sometimes corporal punishment comes into play. And
Hmm.
is that something that you might be addressing as well, the way Haitian parents relate and raise their children?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. It definitely, I will get to that in my podcast. It's very layered. There is I think there in our culture, some people do believe that kids, some kids are not born good. That they have to, for example, the proverb or the way we say it, it's like long pied bois branché, and then faut courir des cils, right? Sometimes they address that to kids, saying that the kid is it's good from the beginning, and then now you gotta make them turn good, which is very damaging, first of all, right, to the kid. And so that takes away the nurturing right there with this just this idea that a kid, if you do anything positive, you are enabling their bad, the bad side of them. That's one thing. And I think also there's fear into like, okay, we care a lot about what other people think, right, in our communities, like what this person is gonna say if you turn out a bad kid, or if you didn't achieve anything in life. So the fear of like other people seeing that you didn't raise quote unquote your kids good, is like from the beginning, it's like I gotta make sure that everything you do don't turn out good. But I think also the other part of this is the lack of education. the lack of education of not understanding how this harsh parenting style actually damage the kid, especially the brain, right? As supposed to help it grow, because trauma actually stop development, and the kid literally will stay immaturely, I mean, will not mature emotionally in certain level, because it wasn't allowed, because there was so much trauma. So it actually create more damage than it does. So it is complex, and it starts with education, understanding how the brain works, and understanding how also the parents are responsible for showing the kid how to respond to their emotion, because it start at a very young age. The kid mirror what they see, right? From a very early age, they look at the parent to see what do I do and what I don't do. So now when we don't model good behaviors even toward them, then the core values, what they learn about themselves, becomes negative, and it shows in adulthood, in relationship, everywhere they go, basically.
Wow, that's a lot, Oili. That's a lot to
Yeah.
unpack, and I'm hoping you'll help us do that. But
Yes.
before we get into that, I want to remind everyone who is watching, because we are live on Facebook and on Instagram as well as YouTube. So if you can hear my voice, please make sure that you comment. Oili is here and willing and ready to answer your questions. So now is your time to chime in, or just give us some support and let us know that you're here and you're listening. But certainly, if you have any questions, please put them into the comments, and then we'll put them up on the screen and address them. And we have a comment already. Joanne, great broadcast. Thank you so much. And we're only getting started. But thank you so much for that comment and for being here. And please tell your friends and tell everyone to tune in, because this is really important. So, Oili, what
Yes.
can we do? I mean, you've broken down how multi-layered our trauma can be.
Mhm.
It starts as children, and then later when families emigrate. But how can someone of Haitian descent, one, recognize that they may need some help, and two, go about getting it despite the stigma in our community?
Yeah, it starts with awareness, right? You can't address something you don't know that is there, right? And with it's very simple actually. There's very very simple ways that people can really look inward and reflect and see what are the things that I need to hear from, right? The things that I've been through that I need to hear from. It could be simple question like, how am I doing today? And really dig deep, not just I'm fine, but deeper than what really is going on mentally. What are my thoughts? What do they look like, right? It could be also journaling, but also reaching out to others, right? We cannot heal alone. It's like we heal in community, right? It's like who are your safe space, right? Finding safe space where you can really be yourself and be vulnerable and help people help you. If you don't have that community yet, if you don't have safe space, I think the other part too is that people in our community thinks that if they go to therapy, everyone's gonna know about, even their job is gonna know about, they're gonna have a record, and everything's gonna be put out there. It is a myth. That's not true. Everything is done in confidentiality. So actually, when you do reach out to a therapist, you don't have to tell others that you are going to therapy, unless you feel like doing so, right? So you can do that in your own privacy and try to um gain insight this way, and then when you're ready, if you want to do that. But going to therapy doesn't have to involve other people, or people don't have to know, and the therapist can start being your support, your support, and then with that you can start building a bigger community moving forward.
And do you find that there's also possibly a fear of therapists, that perhaps this will be a person who will get in your head and do things in there that you don't want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think finding the right therapist for you is important. Very, very important. And a lot of time I hear people say that I've been to therapy multiple times, it didn't work. They didn't give up, which sometimes I encourage them, like, or I praise them for not giving up to eventually finding the right therapist. Because sometimes it's not that therapy does not work, it's just not finding the right therapist for you. Because we out there, we have different style. There's so many ways to help, right, a client with certain challenges. There's not just one way, there's so many theories, right? So we all have different ways of looking at even trauma, looking at it differently, right? So I always encourage people to go. It's like an interview when you look for therapists. Okay, it's like, okay, at least have a list of 5 people and then schedule a consult with them and then interview them, get to understand how they do therapy, what are their style, and then from that 5 interview, you kind of feel who you connect with the most, and then you can pick up from there because you can't do great work with somebody you're not connecting with.
Mm.
Yeah.
And many people are concerned, I think, about finances. People believe that this
Mm.
is expensive or it's not covered by insurance. If someone doesn't have the means, do you think that's an obstacle for them?
That is definitely, which is very unfortunate. And, you know, you would think because we are in the United States, things like that will be more affordable, but that's not our reality, right? And also, because of that, a lot of therapists actually they refuse to take insurance because of the whole hassle, insurance not wanting to pay back, and it can get messy, right? And sometimes it's not really available to a lot of people who don't have the means to just afford it on their own. That being said, there's also a lot of community organization out there. It might be a lengthy process because so many people are coming their way, right? You might be on a wait list to just get, because it's covered by, grant that they have and things like that. But it's still worthy to try, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. And tune into resources like your podcast,
Yes,
where that can
definitely.
provide some help as well. But while we're here, and perhaps you can give some mass therapy to the people, if you find yourself in a position where you realize you are being affected by trauma, something is on your mind, affecting your body, how can we heal? What are some coping mechanisms?
Well, okay, that's a good question. First of all, I want to encourage everybody that feel like, yes, I've been through something and I need to heal, to reach out for professional help, right? You can uh, do so much on your own, and another thing too, that therapy is kind of like a mirror, right? Sometimes you can't get the thing out on your own, but then the therapist can help you do that, and then so you can kind of look at it and connect the dots. So that's one. But the journey can begin, like you said, on your own, where you start just simple coping skills. Anything from mindfulness is actually practicing being present, right? Everything you're doing, try to just be in the present moment, and that's a way to calm the nervous system when you are present. And you work on being present, you're intentional about being present. It could be breathing exercises, right? Where you work on your breathing to calm down your nervous system when you're feeling uneasy, you're feeling your body is getting worked up. It could be anything, from anything you like to do. Find something that you like to do. For people, it could be music, but intentionally taking time out of your day to just do that and relax. It could be writing, it could be coloring, right? Anything that you feel like, okay, this is relaxing, it's the intention. What are you using that moment for, right? To just lock in and then prioritizing yourself and doing something that is to your benefit.
Mhm. And what role does community support play in that and healthy relationships?
Yeah. Here, here's the thing. That's actually a layered question too. Um, Definitely you need community support. And what will it's be usually when you connect, you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel understood, right? So that's actually it helps you get through the hump. Is help you, okay, people see me or people have experienced this too, and that actually encourage people to actually heal, because it's like, okay, this person been through that, so then it's possible for me to go on the other side because they've been there, right? That's why community is there. And also you don't have to hold it on your own, right? When you have a safe space where you can talk and share your things that are challenging for you, you're not carrying it alone. It's just like people can help you and help you navigate it, right? So yeah.
And sometimes all you need is a hug. Well, that helps. It
Exactly.
may not be all
Yes.
you need, but it helps.
Yes, it does. It does. Sometimes it's just, yeah, sit with me, give me a hug, and I'm fine, right? We don't have to talk. Not everybody wants to talk, really. Sometimes it's just be present for me, and then I'll do the rest on my own. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And that's something that I find is a lot of times absent in the Haitian community hugs,
Mm,
especially the older generation. There's just not
yes.
many people like that.
Yeah, it's hug. It's even kisses. It's like, okay, these things should not happen in public. You don't do that. Yeah, there's a lot of no-nos around physical affection.
Mm.
Yeah, and which also affect the younger generation, because again, just I don't know if you heard the term of love language, right? And
Mhm.
people might think it's just for adults, but it's also for kids. They have their own way of wanting to be loved. And if you pay attention, some of them are just physical touch, like hugging. Some of them are words of affirmation, like letting them know that you love them. So learning your kids' love language is also important for them to be seen and feel loved.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's a message that's very important for Haitian parents to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know that we mentioned earlier that there may be some barriers to therapy and getting
Mhm.
the help that you need, but I know that you want to offer our viewers and our members a resource today. Tell us about that.
Well, actually, it's limited for now because I'm only licensed in California. So anybody that is listening from California can actually reach out to my AMA page. That's actually where they can get in touch with me and request for a consultation, and then we can have one, and then we can discuss their challenges. The other way people can also reach out, I mean, look for help is Psychology Today, which is a very good resource where you can find people around you that are giving therapy, and you can choose, like, the person, like when you read their bio, who you feel like you might connect to. Like I said before, pick five of them at least, and you can also see if they take insurance, what kind of insurance they take. Psychology is a very, very great resource for people from other states in California too. It's just very nationwide.
Yes, and
Mm.
many of the pointers and information that you're giving the folks here today, we're going to package into basically a one sheet, sort of a
Mm.
PDF that we're going to make available to everyone so that they can have it and have some of your tips to refer back to. And
Mhm.
anyone who's watching, all you have to do is reach out to us on social media. So send us a message on Instagram or Facebook, or leave a comment on YouTube. And if you get in
Mhm.
touch with us, we will email you that resource by Oledi so that you can have that, tune into that, and start your healing process, essentially.
Yes.
And so we have a question from one of our viewers, also the president of our board. Um, Patricia, thank you so much for joining and for asking. And she wants to know, what are some red flags that suggest someone should seek professional help right away? A really important question.
Yeah, very important. Well, there's many things that somebody um might notice, but the most frequent one are feeling irritated, like most days of the week, when you feel like you are always on edge, frustrated, or you getting angrier, right? Feeling anxious for a long period of time. And sometimes you might identify the trigger, sometimes you don't. Difficulty sleeping. A lot of people show up in their sleep where they can't sleep. If you find yourself not sleeping for, I would say, I wouldn't even let it go on for past 2 weeks, right? Your appetite is decreasing. Some people, it's either they're not eating enough or they're eating too much. Having low motivation when you feel like you have to go to work, but you just want to stay in bed. You don't want to get out of bed, and it's hard. It takes a lot of energy out of you to get out of bed. So that's one. That's another one. And also, if you find yourself getting into conflict really often, right? Because people are getting on your nerves more often, that's another red flag.
Oh, so you mean it's not them, it's me? Oh my. Okay, we need to talk after the broadcast. Wow. But not to make light of it, those are some very important clues that people can tune into to realize what is going on with them. And I think a lot
Mhm.
of people have a tendency to think, well, that's just life. Life is hard. Life is lifing. There's inflation.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things going on. This is just a normal state of being. But you're saying this is not normal.
No, this is not normal because here's the thing. It's like the nervous system when it's triggers, it's supposed to react to something but also come back down, right? The example I always take is like it's kind of like when you watch a lion and a zebra. If a zebra sees a lion, it will just run for his life. But then you can see when it realizes that the lion is no longer chasing after it, it just relaxes right away. It just go back to eating. It's not looking over its shoulder. So that's pretty much how your nervous system should work. It's like you get away from the thing and then you go back to normal. But then when it happens longer, where your nervous system is not regulating, resetting on right after an event, then it becomes an issue, right? It just your level of cortisol increases, which affect your physical health eventually, right? And you can hear in our community how the older generation, how they all have high blood pressure, right? Sugar, all of that, right? And stress causes physiological symptoms and eventually long side effects. So yeah.
Hmm. But are there some things that we can do to improve mood or just improve our condition generally? Like many people say, exercise and sunlight. Do you believe in those things as well? Is that something that's attainable?
Yes. So exercise is a great coping skill, and being out in nature, which is actually part of grounding. When you ground yourself, you calm your nervous system down, right, and you connect with nature, and it helps you ground yourself. Because one thing with the nervous system, it sometimes can just being triggered by just a perceived threat. It doesn't have to be a threat, really. It could be your thoughts that are the threat, and it you're thinking about something and it sees it as a threat, right? But being present, like exercising, help you increase release your dopamine, which actually trigger a positive feeling content, joy. And another way, so um especially in the I'm gonna go technical here. Bear with me.
Please do.
As a cognitive behavioral therapist, right? I see things where the feelings is connected to the thought and it's connected to the behavior. It's like a cycle, right? Once you start feeling negatively, anxious, depressed, you name it, right? Then your thoughts are going to follow. You're going to have negative thoughts. You're going to have depressed thoughts. And then your behaviors are going to show. It's either you isolating or you eating less, you feeling, so they are all connected. And one way to break that cycle is to actually, one thing we call behavioral activation, is actually doing the opposite, engaging in behaviors that will trigger different emotion. Like for example, exercising will trigger a positive feeling, because we don't have direct access to our feeling. I can't just say, okay, I'm gonna feel sad right now and I feel sad, right? I have to think about something that makes me sad in order to feel sad. So that's your way to change your feeling, is by actively changing it, if that makes sense.
It does, absolutely. And I think that sometimes people feel stuck in their trauma because the thing that's
Mhm.
causing their trauma are things they feel like they can't get away from, like the
Yeah.
job they depend on for survival, or their family. What do you suggest for a person like that?
Well, there could be multiple ways. I'll take both differently. When working with somebody that really, it's their environment, it's the job environment, we try to identify what is it in that job can you control and what is it not, what the things that you cannot control, right? And once you identify that some level of control, seeing that, okay, in this area I have control, can help somebody feel better. Not always, because sometimes it's the environment is toxic. No matter how many coping skills you engage in, no matter what you do for yourself, it's just a toxic environment. You just got to leave it, right? It could be the goal where it's like, okay, how do I find another, I don't know, career or job, whatever it is, right? But sometimes it is possible to just change the way you view things, perspective, right? Or the control that you have. And then that can help you there. What was the other part of the question?
Uh,
Work and
and also your relationships, meaning your family, that you
okay,
can easily separate.
that, yeah. Here's the thing with family. It's another complex topic, but really quickly, family works in dynamics, right? So, and usually, even if it's a dysfunctional dynamic, the family function like that because that's what they know. They keep functioning like that. That's what they know. Now, another, if you watch you working on yourself, you're trying to heal, it's very difficult to see change in other people in your family because they are not doing the work. You can't just change the whole everybody just because you are doing it, right? However, you can, that's where boundaries come when you are the only one, right, working on yourself, healing, and you can see the patterns that are going on and how hurtful that is for everyone involved, right? Then you can create boundaries to actually protect yourself and keep the new skills that you have, where you can still interact and still be part of that family. Depend on what's going on, because some people have very, for some family can be very complex, but that's where boundaries is very important. You got to identify them, you got to communicate them and stand by them.
Mm. Now, or I was going to call you Dr. Orly. Maybe I'm bringing that into existence. Maybe that's
Existence.
next. uh,
Yes.
but the tips that you're giving us are certainly very high level. And I just want to ask you as well, the state of the world, especially being a Black
Mm.
woman, a Haitian woman. Sometimes I just read the front page of a national newspaper and you feel a little down. What can we do about that?
Yeah, it's first of all, limit your exposure to the news. Really, you want to limit that. Yes, you want to be aware of what's going on because you don't want to be in the dark. It's not just shutting yourself out from the world, but limit, but also make sure what are good sources that you looking for that information. Another thing too is social media right now. It's very intense because everybody's saying what they want to say, right? And you can get emotions from that too. Let's try to limit these exposures really and connect more with what you like to do, with what speaks more to you, more about yourself, and engaging in things that are just more personal to you, as opposed to directing all your attention to what's going on out there.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
that's very good advice for sure. Limit that screen time.
Mhm.
Well,
Definitely.
the last thing I want to ask you, Oili, is well, basically, I want to leave it open to you. What would you like to leave us with in terms of your message about trauma, about Santé Mental, or anything at all?
Yeah, well, it's time. It's time to start healing. Um, like you said earlier today, as Haitian, we've been through a lot, centuries after centuries, and these don't they leave marks, right? They don't go away. They are passed down from generation to generation, and it's time to start healing, um, personally and as a collective.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's definitely time. So I want to encourage everyone who's watching today to get in touch with us, send us a message on Instagram or Facebook or comment on YouTube, requesting that free resource by Aurélie so that we can get the journey started. Because
Yes.
as you said, it's certainly time. It's been time. And I
Yes.
want to thank you, Oili, for coming on, for doing all the work that you do for the podcast, and for giving us all these really, really valuable tips to help us along and to help the Haitian community. We're so proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you for the work that you guys do, especially for Haitian women. We are usually not seen, you know? So, yeah,
That's right.
really great job.
Yes. And now we're worldwide. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.